Hi and welcome. This is Tina Persson, founder of the podcast PhD Career Stories. Welcome to this episode, and it's indeed a very exciting one because I have two guests here, and you know what? They are headhunters, real headhunters from Europe. We have Ola Samuelsson sitting in Barcelona, Spain, and we have Grażyna sitting in Poland. So very welcome to my podcast, GE Hunter. That's the name, or?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So do you know what? I have followers here, and I know from them that they are very curious about headhunters. So my first question here is, how did you end up in the headhunting business? Ola?
Well, I have been in the business now for about 10 years, which is much less than with my Grażyna and my colleagues. Still, I have always had some kind of an interest for this business. And that is a little bit as my experience as being a candidate. And being a candidate to recruiters, I actually had many times bad experience. There were times when I was approached, nothing happened. There were even times, sometimes I was approached, we had an interview, and I was quite excited, and this was a very interesting project, and then silence, nothing happened. So I have always been thinking before I joined this GE Hunter that this is an interesting business, but also we can do much better. I think there are a lot of room to improvements, and I think still there are many players, very professional who do a good job, but still there are also many who don't do the job as it should be, and I think that also kind of contribute a little bit to some kind of a little bit bad reputation, or maybe some kind of skepticism to the industry.
I think that's a wonderful drive you have, actually, because I remember from those who listen here, I was a recruiter about that 15 years ago, and that was my drive into the business as well. You know, I applied for a job and I felt misunderstood, and they didn't come back to me. They didn't give me feedback. Yeah. So that also drove me into the business a long time ago. Yeah. But what you have been in the business now, Ola, for how many years? You said 10 years.
Yeah, a little bit more than 10 years. We started GE Hunter 2010. So, well, soon 11, 12 years. So, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. And Grażyna, how did you end up in the business?
Well, thanks for this question, because yes, it's always good to have some kind of a reflection how things started. Yes. Actually, I had a dream that to combine my education, and I have graduated from Oriental Studies. So I wanted to combine my general interest in people with my education, which means how can I maybe help people? How can I support people? How can I share my knowledge on some cultures to people? So I was very lucky, because at my first professional job was actually becoming a junior recruiter that time, when I had a chance to recruit people from Europe to work in Arabic companies in the Gulf countries. So that was a time when I understood how this job looked like, and I could combine my interest in people with my background related to cultural differences and sharing this knowledge with people. So from the very beginning, I was very lucky, because that was my job, which I'm very happy to continue these days as a senior headhunter, starting as a junior recruiter. Now it's time to be a headhunter.
But what I understand, when you started as a recruiter, you were also an advisor and helper, basically, because people that were curious to work in the Arabic culture, they got advice from you.
Well, that's why I think I was extremely happy, because it was like a dream job for me. It was a combination of application of my knowledge from my studies and sharing my expertise, helping people to understand how to work, how to live in different cultures. And, you know, for us Europeans, it's not so easy to work and live in the Arabic countries or any other countries which so much differ from ours. So I was kind of an advisor for them, but I was also recruiter, which also brought them this new opportunity to start a new job, start a new life. So for many of them, it was like a life story, that they had such an opportunity to work for a couple of years in such a different culture than they own. So I remember I was very happy, because that was my first matches. I was matching the clients. That time it was one of the biggest aluminium production companies, with people, engineers, who decided to start their new employment in simply different country, different culture. It was a great first job I had.
And I guess that the candidates were also very happy to have you there to support them in the new job, because I think, isn't this part of your job today as well, to inform and help the clients in the new position?
Yes, I think that that's what I have been doing as a recruiter. Now we are also doing it as headhunters, because we have to match, we have to understand the candidates' motives, expectations, to the client's requirements, profile, but also culture of the organization. So this kind of the matching between the two is absolutely part of our job also these days. That's most important to really address it during our projects, during our communications with clients and candidates. So yes, we continue this.
Yeah, because this is just coming back to a question I actually planned to ask a little bit later, but it comes naturally in here now. And that is that some of the listeners here, they are from STEM, they are highly qualified, they have PhD background, and when they end up in recruitment processes, they feel a little bit what Ola said. I apply, I never hear anything. So they say they get some sort of feeling they don't like recruiters, or they think the business is not okay. They feel misunderstood in this whole recruitment business. So, but the experience I had myself was that, yeah, we did actually a lot of job as well to actually match clients and then help clients to get the job, help them in the interview, help them to understand, to meet the expectations. Is that your experience as well? Is this the way you work as well, would you say?
Well, absolutely, yes. I mean, we as G-Hunter, we try to work as a kind of let's say it's a bit kind of a coach for the candidates, try to prepare them when needed, from one point of view, but at the same time, of course, we are advisors to our clients, just to also prepare them to what is expected, what are their expectations, and what really the market is offering. Because it happens that the clients is having some kind of the brief of the person who does not exist. Yes. So we have to very proactively and in some kind of a partnership also providing client with our views on how the market works. In a sense, they can also change a bit their expectations.
Yeah, you're experts on the labor market, aren't you?
Well, in a sense, for some certain sectors, yes, we believe that we are not experts for each sector. We as a company, we are quite specialized. We mainly work for pharmaceuticals, for medical devices, for FMCG companies. But so we are not experts for all markets. But within these sectors, we believe we should be experts. We should understand what are the trends and how we can help both candidates, but also candidates to finally match and we call it deliver this kind of a driving power. This is something what is important.
It seems so. So coming back to that, to help the listeners here to understand your business, what does actually a daily day look like for you guys? Ola, maybe you should say something. When you wake up in the morning and you go to work, maybe it's not so far now, you're sitting in your flat, maybe, I don't know, but what does your daily day look like?
No, I think there are two parts, yes. I mean, there are, of course, this day to day. I mean, we have projects and very much about matching the right candidate to our clients and to find that, and of course, be in touch with our companies and clients to understand. But I think also an important part is to also, which I think Grażyna mentioned a little bit earlier about, and is kind of to try to kind of understand what happens in the market. Yes, I mean to research the market, to investigate the market, to understand the trends. So we know what how it looks today, yes, but also a little bit how it looks tomorrow, and how this is. So because that's the only way we can support our clients, yes. So I think that's also an important part of our daily work, yes. So I think two parts, day to day, and then kind of try to understand what will happen in the future.
Yeah. Yes.
How
Also,
much are you? Yeah, I'm curious. How many interviews do you do per day? And
very much, of course. I mean, it depends how many we have. So it could be, I mean, we could have 5-6 interviews one day, and we can have 0. So that's very different. Yes. So that's very dependent on the situation, how many projects we do, and so on. But then, of course, also, I mean, the interview is important. Yes. I mean, it's the key when we really try to understand who is this candidate. I mean, is a good match, and so if you have too many, I mean, somewhere you lose the focus, yes, and maybe you're very focused in the morning during the day, but then if you have the last one 5 o'clock in the evening or 7 o'clock in the evening, maybe so we try not to have too many. I mean,
too many.
I think because I think that could be a risk.
Yeah, I agree. It's like a surgeon operating 10, you know, in the evening you're simply a bit tired here. But I understand that. So why, you know, to help our followers again here, because they are curious about what you actually do. So maybe you could help them to understand, what does a classical headhunting process look like? Grażyna.
Well, I would say here maybe important to say that we are assigned for certain projects, and then the process is very well structured, and it's divided into certain steps, certain weeks. First, it starts with a kind of creating strategy where this kind of ideal candidate, I'm sure that this subject is interesting, who is an ideal candidate, but in general, we try to think, to make a plan where this ideal candidate for a certain project can be currently employed. So first we start with this kind of the preparation, or we can call it brainstorming. Then we assign a team, because we have a team of researchers who is specialized in certain steps of these activities. So this team of researchers is then conducting the projects by starting approaching, but first maybe identification of certain candidates, which would be on our list of interest. So we prepare a target list of the companies. We prepare, after that, we prepare different strategic documentations, which is a part of the process. So in a week 2, we start approaching candidates, and here where everything starts, because you have to start your dialogue with potential candidates, and all this dialogue and talking to candidates, understanding their interest, gives you a broader and broader pool of contacts you are connected with, you are networked. So at the end of the process, which for us lasts around 4 weeks, you should simply have a group of candidates who have been already interviewed by us and who are motivated and interested to in the job opportunity we're having. So that's very intensive 4 weeks time. And maybe just to give you some additional information, that we used to approach a big pool of potential candidates.
Yep.
And it can be, depends of kind of the project and how specific it is. It can be 15 to even 80 people who we approach during this journey of the project. So quite a big pool of candidates, which, as we said, at the end, should select 4 to 5 best matching candidates, best matching in our view candidates. So quite intensive process, very rigorous, very well structured.
It's an intensive process, and I see you have the numbers to get these 5, 6. You must approach a certain. Do you have in GE Hunter any advertisement, or you work by looking up the people? You go to LinkedIn, or you use your referral, your network? What is your process here?
Well, we don't use work with any advertisement or anything. We only work with kind of, we call direct search, and then of course the most and the main part go of course for our network, our recommendations. That is, I mean, we have quite a few people we are networked in our system, and so if we don't know this candidate and believe who it is, maybe any of our other candidates and so on. So this is kind of the first step. And then of course online search also, we also do of course, and so on. But we also, many times we know, I mean, it depends on project, but it could be a limited number of candidates working for a limited number of companies.
Yeah.
And of course we can simply just do a direct contact and ask if they would maybe be interested in this. Yes, so it's only this kind of direct search we are working with.
Yeah. So clarify for the listeners here, what I understand you're saying is that, let's say I'm a company here now, Ola and Grażyna, and I'm looking for a regulatory affair specialist, and I am in a field where I'm looking for someone that know RNA or DNA, right? It's sort of very specific. So I don't want anyone in small molecules, because that will not be the same thing, and it's not proteins. I want someone with experience there. Then I would say that most likely you have to approach these 5 companies. Absolutely. Because most likely in Europe, it is these 5 companies in Europe.
Yes, that's exactly how it works. Yeah. And that's, as we call it, a true headhunting. Yeah. When we really have these 5 target companies where we can find these potential candidates. We, of course, will then also search for candidates who have previously worked for these companies. Yes, not only this 5, because maybe it's not enough. But yes, this is a headhunting. This is exactly headhunting. This is the way how headhunting looks like. You have a target list, target companies, and you approach. We call it passive candidates. Candidates who are not actively looking for the job, who are not advertising themselves, who are not on. They are not in any portals. They are not actively looking for the job. They are passive candidates, and we simply try to tempt them.
Yeah, and now we come to that, headhunting and recruitment, because headhunting is really, what you guys do. You go to target it, whereas recruitment, they can also very often advertise for the
Absolutely.
So, active candidates can find the job. So if we now say that we now have our followers, and maybe they are sitting at universities. Is it so that you have companies or organizations are contacting you and say, do you know, we need someone in physics with very good skills in algorithms, for example? Would you then approach universities? Have that happened for you?
Well, yes, it depends on the brief we have. And
Yeah.
so we've noticed more and more often that especially pharmaceutical companies, medical devices companies, they are interested to also assess the profiles of candidates who are currently they are currently employed at universities and do not have kind of a commercial or business experience. But it's only or mainly related to, as we said, for medical and functions. So kind of limited request we are having for that type of profiles. But yes, we started to have increased, but a bit limited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good to hear. So if I put it this way, if now we have, and I say if, they are listening here, they are PhDs, and oh God, yeah, because what I say as a coach is, okay, they like to know what headhunters. So maybe it is so that you are not in the target or in the eye for the headhunters at the moment. But if step out in industry and you decide to take a job in a pharmaceutical company or in a small biotech company, and you get attractive skills in that company, then you will be a target for headhunters. Is that what I'm telling them? Would you agree on that? Am I giving them the correct advice?
Absolutely. Then when the persons or the candidates already get some business experience on the business side, yes, they will be first on the target list approached by headhunters.
So in meaning that it's not the first job that's so important, it is what it can come afterwards. Yeah. But going back to, because now I'm curious how you evaluate, what would you say is an attractive, outstanding candidate? Maybe Ola. Yeah.
Well, the question is if it does exist, the perfect candidate. Yes, I mean it's always. Our client, of course, they have a kind of a requirement always. Yes, I mean you have to tick off everything, and I think there are very few who match all the criteria. Yeah, so I mean I'm not so sure we have this kind of perfect candidate, and there are always something. Maybe I mean strong side, maybe some weaknesses and so on. Yes. So otherwise, I think from the candidates, I mean, what we kind of are attracted to, what we believe is, of course, we try to build this kind of little bit partnership. Yes, I mean, we talk to candidates related to projects, but we of course also talk to candidates for the future and so on. Yeah, so it's kind of this having a little bit this of a partnership for the future. There are no ideal candidate, no.
There is no exactly, and it depends on what the company wants. Yeah.
Okay. So, what important for us, of course, also there are some kind of a motivation that the candidates are motivated for this, and that they are interested and that they are prepared. Yes, I mean if we have, for example, an interview discussion, we of course would like the candidate to have done her or his homework. Yes, I mean we would like to know that they understand the client, we have a company, and so on. So I think that's also very, very important. But otherwise, I think it's very much about you have to be yourself. Yes, I mean, and I think you. As I said in the beginning, there are always some kind of weaknesses. There are maybe always something you're missing. Yes. But that's fine. Yes, that's I mean, it's fine. I mean, if a candidate try to pretend something, I mean, I have this, but I don't have it. That's not a good solution. No. So I think that's be yourself, and then it's a question: is it a match or not? Yes. I mean, it's not. You don't have any bad or good candidate. No. I mean, it's just, does it match or no? Yes. Yeah, I think that's important thing.
That's important. And you're saying some very good things, and I'm sitting here, because, when I'm coaching here, it's like, many of my clients, they're super afraid of showing they have weaknesses. How can I hide them? And I say, you shouldn't hide them, because it doesn't help, because when you start to work, they will come out anyway. Exactly. So there is not a perfect candidate. It is always how you handle things and how you solve things. And then, of course, certain jobs, if you have a weakness, it maybe is not the ideal job, but there are other jobs for you where you fit better. So I would say, I think, thank you for that answer. I think many will feel very relieved hearing you, Ola, as a headhunter, saying that is not a perfect candidate.
Oh,
There's always something with all of them. Yeah.
that's, I think that's very true, yes.
Yeah, there's always something with it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Grażyna, would you like to add something?
Yes, because I think that here I'd like to add something what I think it's, for me personally, is very important. Many candidates also, I mean, there are some candidates who also have a strong belief, strong interest, or strong passion for something. And it happened to us that we, for example, just to give one example, we had a candidate who was not matching to the brief. He was very junior comparing to the brief we had, but his attitude was extremely exciting because he was passionate about the job. He was, I mean, extremely passionate about the job, and he really tried to do his best to convince us headhunters that yes, he's not in a brief, but he can do the job. And in this precise case, I remember that we decided to recommend a candidate who was not in a brief. I mean, there was a big gap between what the client expected and what the candidate possessed. However, we decided to do it, and you know what happened? He got the job.
He got the job, yeah.
He got the job because the client saw what we also have seen. Yes, he doesn't have full competencies, but he has such a strong motivation, such a strong belief that he can catch up during the journey, that he's the one who just has something extra because of this motivation, this passion. So I also would like to highlight this fact that for us headhunters, but also for our clients, the attitude, this motivation, this maybe passion for certain subject, certain function, or certain element of the job is as important as all other competencies match. And I just mentioned about this one example, but I think we have a couple of examples in our professional experience that the person was not matching, but still got the job. So build your career, build your passions, yes? I think that's important.
I just can also, I mean, just also kind of highlight that. I think, I mean, passion, I mean, that is a very good factor, yes? I mean, maybe you have some kind of hard facts which you're missing, yes? But if you have the right passion and motivation, of course, I mean, that's I think is very important.
You know, and I like to hear that, but, you know, this is to clarify also for you followers here that you need to meet up to a certain skill level, but to then, you know, passion comes. So if you have two candidates and you have one sitting very heavy in the chair, not really being super motivated, but have all the skills, let's say, and then you have one having 75, but it's super eager, then you probably take the super eager one.
True.
But so we could also say candidate should be brave. Yes, we can encourage candidate to be brave. Yes, if they really want something, it's good to get it, to try to get it.
Exactly, brave is always important. You know, coming to some other question here that I think, you know, I'm also curious. Why are companies using you as headhunters? Why do they need you?
Should I be first?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I was waiting for you there. So I think here we have a little bit captain for the technician. So ask again, and then you take it, Grażyna, because you are good at this.
Well, there are different reasons why we are needed. Yes, why headhunters are needed. One of the reasons could be that there are some confidential projects, the projects when we are assigned to search for, to be honest, replacing a person who is currently employed. So for this type of the searches, yes, the external partner is very much needed, yes. So that's why we are assigned. That's one of the situations when we really can help because of the situation. But I think in majority of cases is that, as we already said, searching for the right person needs time, needs focus, needs a lot of actions. It needs a lot of interviews. So I think we are best suited to, after, of course, understanding the culture of our client, understanding the brief, we are best suited to tempt candidates, to approach candidates, to start this dialogue with them, to finally, at the end of this process, to present the best of the best matching 4-5 candidates. So I think that we can very often work as ambassadors of the client, yes? We don't like to be treated as GE Hunter, as external partner. We are working very much in partnership with the client and as an ambassador. So we just simply do the job, which cannot be done by them because we are simply experts. And we can, during our process, we can really identify the best talents. So
sorry.
So I think that's why they need us. And maybe also just one example from our experiences, that in many companies there are internal recruitment teams which work on behalf of the clients, searching by themselves. And it happens to us quite often that after the job which it was done by them, we have been assigned, we have been asked to search for the person. And very often it's again happened that we noticed that 3 months project conducted by the internal person was not so successful because it was not so well targeted. There was not a strategy where exactly the person could be found. And also in our views, it was not so intensive, meaning the number of people identified, contacted was very limited comparing to what we used to do during our processes. So that also proves that in many cases it's really crucial to have this external ambassador to support the client.
Yeah, but I don't. You become experts. You do this full time, and I can just share with you and also with the listeners. I worked as a headhunter. That's only 5 years ago. I jumped in a little bit, and it just recalls back to me that I got, we want these 3 people and from these 2 companies, and we can't do the job. And I contacted 80 people and I placed 3. So it's really hard work, but it's fun. But it's hard work to be a headhunter.
I think something. Yeah. No, I think. I think maybe companies and people in general. a little bit underestimate. The work is done. It's not just to say, well, we need that and find it. And we said it before. When we start a project, it's a huge planning work needed. To really understand what we are looking for. To set the strategy how to find this. And also, as Grażyna said, yes. It happens really from time to time that the clients say, we do it ourselves. We have internal, yes. And then many times they're simply coming back after a while and say, yeah, well, it was not so easy. But it's also a question, because, if a company come to us tomorrow and say, we need this, we can present 5 CVs the same day, yes. But it's about to find the right, but it's also to find, our clients want the best of the best, yes. So when we start the search process, we probably find a very good candidate day 1 or day 2, But then it's a question to continue, yes, to continue and continue to be really sure. Now we have covered this. Now we have found the best one, yes. Maybe it was the first one, but maybe it was
maybe
not.
it was
yes?
the first. Sometimes it
Exactly.
is the first one. Yeah.
So I think that, and that's also a little bit. I mean, what I said from the beginning, why I've kind of become a bit interested in this industry, yes. But I think. And maybe I also thought at that moment, this is not so difficult, yes. But now I also learned, I mean, there is a lot of work, but it's clear, I mean, there is a need for headhunters for many companies, absolutely.
And I agree with you guys, because I would say that you do an amazing job. And since I have the job, I know it's a lot of effort behind it. And it is, as you said, it's a collaboration. You can have the best candidate or the best matching candidate as number one, but it's also about convincing the company and the team in the company that that candidate actually is the best one. And another amazing thing that is when you realize that their expectations, we can't find those clients. They need to change the profile. So if you change a profile, if you do this, you will have him. And that part of the headhunting, at least I found, was extremely fun, being in that middle of it,
Yeah. Well, but then of course you have to have clients who really like to work on this partnership basis. And to be also very honest, there are clients who just really are interested in building such a partnership, but there are also some clients who are not so flexible. They just have a brief and they just want us to go in line with the brief. So of course, we as all companies, all people, we have some kind of clients we like to work most, yes, because of this approach, because of this openness they have or they do not have. Yes, that's, I think, also maybe worth mentioning, that there are different cases. Every case is different.
Every case is different. And we are coming to the end of the podcast here, but I hope that you listeners here now, when I'm sitting listening to you, and which you do so because it's so clear you love your jobs. So I hope that you are listening to this podcast, you realize how complex headhunting is. It's not, we just take someone and put them here. No. It's partnership, it's quick, it's many candidates. You said up to 100 candidates in a pool. You have a lot of interviews and you're reviewing, you're planning, and you're targeting. So I really hope you listen to this here. And maybe even some of your PhD says, wow, that's a job I like to have. Sounds to be an exciting job. And I can tell you, yeah, for the right person, it is an exciting job. But before ending here, I would like you to share with our listeners, we can start with Ola and then Grażyna here, 3 tips to become an attractive talent today on the market.
I think we have covered it a little bit, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very much about to have this kind of, I mean, we said passion and motivation. That I think is very important to kind of show that. I mean, then of course the kind of the formal qualities is needed, but again we're talking about the partnership. We're talking about that and be in touch. I mean, maybe there is a candidate out there who think, well, I mean, I don't have any plans to change or start and work today or tomorrow. But I mean, to kind of start a relationship, I think that's also a good thing, yes. And then, of course, I think it's very much about to openness, honest, don't pretend something you are not, and things like that. So I think it's a little bit repetition what we have said earlier, but I think that's that is important. Yeah, but maybe partnership thinking, yes.
Partnership thinking, I think that's very good. Networking thinking, communication
I mean,
thinking.
our business is networking, yes.
Yeah, it's networking. Yeah, thank you. So now you hear that followed. Networking, partnership, be honest and trust them, be yourself. That Ola said. Now we hear what Grażyna says.
Well, I have to, in a sense, repeat, but I will start with this passion. Build your passion, be yourself when communicating with us. Don't pretend you are somebody else. Also be in contact with us. Be in contact, be responsive. I mean, you never know what we are offering today or tomorrow. So respond to our contacts. I think that would be these ones.
That's the one. And now I come to my followers here. They probably wonder now, okay, how do I find Ola and Grażyna in GE Hunter? How can they contact you?
They are very, very welcome to contact me and Grażyna. And we have our website, ghunter.com, contact details. So we are looking forward. We're looking forward now for all listeners to contact us.
Yeah, so you hear that. They want you to contact them. So don't be shy. And with that, I would say thank you very much, Ola and Grażyna, for this wonderful interview with you here. It was absolutely a pleasure. And I hope for you followers here now for PhD Career Stories, listen to this podcast carefully, because now you have got some $10 million tips on you can contact headhunters. You go to the webpage and there you have an email, and then you send probably your matching resume explaining what you're looking for, and that's how you do it. And then networking in yourself, and there is nothing like it. So thank you very much. This was Tina Persson from PhD Career Stories.
Thank you for having us.